To make homemade rolled out noodles, you need a couple eggs, some flour, a cutting board with a towel underneath so it doesn't slip back and forth, and a plate to put them on when you cut them, and a rolling pin. It's very simple. Now you beat the 2 eggs really good. And then you're going to add flour. Add a little flour at a time until your dough looks like this. It's not real dry. You will add flour as you roll it out. You will see. You see now I did put flour on the board. Now this is sticky wet yet, so you know it's not really dry. So what I do is I work in the flour. Now keep doing this, and gushing it and gushing it. It's almost like playing with putty, clay, children's toys or whatever. Because this way, it won't be that dry that you cannot work it. And you'll use all this flour eventually. It's not going to all go in here. So. And when it gets dry enough, you'll know that it won't stick to a rolling pin. Then you're going to roll it out with the rolling pin, flip it over, make sure there's more flour on it, roll a little bit more, flip it over, and keep until you get the size you want. But always make sure you flour it more and more. Then what you're going to do is roll it this way. Keep rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it. Okay. Now you have rolled it out. Now you will be slicing it. But I'm going to have to turn this off for now because I can't do it with one hand. After you cut it, that whole thing in little pieces, then you fluff it out. Now you're going to put on a plate and start your next one. I want you to see as I cut, I pinch, pinch, pinch. So where I pinch here, I cut there. Then after I cut, I pinch and so forth. And that keeps a nicer noodle. I like the noodles sort of thinner and not real big. I'm showing you one more time how dry it should be. It should have moisture in it, but dry enough to roll out, but still have moisture. I hope you can see that. It's almost like rolling out bread dough, I guess. Now this is how much you get from what I just showed you. Now don't forget, fluff them out, otherwise some will be sticking together and you don't really like that doughy flavor. Look at how nice these noodles are. I mean, anybody can do it if I can do it. That's for sure. I'm self-taught. But I'll tell you, the whole thing is, if you want to do it, you can do it. Just put your mind to it. Now I have to boil water. Then these go in water for about 10 minutes. But you got to constantly stir it. Otherwise it'll over bubble in the pan. Just to let you know, I've done it. Now we will mix up the dumpling mix. We start with 2 eggs, and I will add flour and show you how much. I don't measure it. Alright, now you see it is wet and not as dry as the ones you roll out, because you're not going to roll these out. You're going to put them on a fork and just drop them right in your soup. And please don't make big ones. I'll show you how big to make them. Just a minute. This is about big enough. Because when you make them real big, they're very doughy. I'll show you. You just put them on a fork, put this right in your hot boiling soup, and they'll fall right off. And I'll show you them in the soup. I won't get too close to the stove and make it all fog up on the lens. But now this is the noodles in the boiling water. I put just a couple of flicks of salt in here. I don't know why people do it, but I do it anyway. Nice noodles. And I'll let it boil for about 10 minutes. Because you want the noodles done. And then you drain them. Then you can eat them. And I'll tell you, with all this soup, you think it's a lot of soup. This bad flu weather's coming. Eat your soup. Freeze some of this soup. And if you can, in a jar, can some of it. But if you don't, well, then just freeze it. But I'll tell you, once you start eating this, and if you have somebody not feeling well in the house, this is great. If you know a neighbor that doesn't feel well, take them some of your homemade soup. Believe me, with that garlic, it just is good for your immune system. Okay. Other noodles are now done and drained. Look at that. Good supply of noodles. Now here is a very hearty bowl of soup. Doesn't that look delicious? Mmm, yummy, yummy, yummy. And that's a big giant cup too. That's not a little cup. That's almost the size of your big salt shaker. Here, see? How about that? Yummy.